Hello, good morning, viewer. Thank you for coming back to my channel, Hocantalk. Now, in this video, I'm going to introduce another very important energy market, especially in view of the current Iran war. So, I'm very sure a lot of the viewer would like to know more about this market. So today, this video likewise will be presented in two languages. It will be in English and Chinese. And for YouTube, I will put up both languages. For China platform Bilibili, I will only put up the Chinese version. So without further ado, today's topic is regarding natural gas market, natural gas. So if you look at the first slide, today's topic is natural gas market explained. When we talk about natural gas, we are mainly talking about liquefied natural gas, because these are the natural gas that can be transported from point A to point B using huge vessel. So without further ado, let's go through this lesson. Again, my lesson will be conducted in marker and paper format, so that I can concentrate on producing all the gist information that you're required to know, and so that it will help your financial decision or help in your career. Now, when we talk about natural gas market, we have to know how many type of natural gas are actually very much being used or being used in the market now, or what form are they being used. Okay, so the next slide, I'm going to tell you the types of natural gas product that are being produced and could be commercially deployed and commercially consumed. So in the normal form, when natural gas is normal form, it can only be transport or delivered through pipeline, because the capacity, the masses is very big. It's not being compressed, it's not being liquefied, so it actually go through pipeline. So if you look at the chart, there are three forms of the gas that it can exist on the earth. So normal, meaning when it's underground, when you dig it up, you doesn't process it, so it's in a normal format. The second format will be if you compress it to 100 times, meaning that you squeeze it to 1% of the original size by compressing, then that's called the compressed natural gas. But if you go down to 600 times and you freeze the natural gas in a minus 162 degrees Celsius environment, the natural gas will become a liquid. So when it's liquid, you compress it 600 times, so you can squeeze a lot of liquid into a huge vessel called the LNG vessel, and you can ship the product everywhere in the world, depending on who offer you the best price. So I put out this chart. When it's natural form, it will be a pipeline, so it's very much from regional point A to point B, and this is the lowest cost of transportation. And because of the localization of the supply, in the past, natural gas is very much a regional market. It's not a global market. So the right term to describe is a regional commodity market. So it's not really a global, because it cannot be freely transported to point A to point B in a huge amount at a very economical cost. Now, the second form will be a compressed format. If you go to China, if you go to USA, you can see that those big truck, taxi, and all these behind the boot, they have a compressed tank. This compressed tank is very tough, because they have to withhold the pressure of the liquid natural gas. So the compressed, meaning you compress natural gas to reduce it by 100 times and compress it into a container, which will be used to mainly fuel transportation like truck, taxi and all kind of vehicles over a short to medium term distance. It cannot be used to you can't transport it through a long distance in a compressed tank, because it's also not economical. You only compress the volume by 100 times. Now, how about at the next stage, with the liquefied stage, when you freeze the natural gas to minus 62 degrees Celsius, then you can actually reduce the size, the volume of the gas by 600 times, and you can squeeze a lot of natural gas into a big vessel, and this big vessel can also be shipped to everywhere in the world. But For this type of liquefied natural gas, you need two facilities in place before the gas can be converted to a commodity that can be used for its ultimate purposes. So what are these two facilities? You need a freezer. It's like a big facility at a country. So when they put the gas through this facility, the output will be a liquefied natural gas because of the freezing procedure. But when this natural gas is being put into a big vessel called the LNG vessel, and when this vessel go to the customer country, you must have another facility at the customer country to warm these gases up before it could be used. So I give you this slide so at least you know that the natural gas market, it has very much three forms. One is the normal form, which go through pipeline. Another one is a compressed form, reduced by 100 times, but only in a hardened container, which can only do short to medium term transportation, because the size is still huge. Number three, of course, is liquefied. Liquefied, you can squeeze the whole thing to 600 times. But you need a freezing facility and you need a warming facility at both ends of the supply chain. Now take a look at the next slide. Now, I mentioned just now natural gas was a regional kind of energy market, regional kind of commodity. It's not really a global commodity market. That's why you don't see a lot of emphasis. You don't see a lot of people talking about natural gas. A lot of people focus on oil, the fuel and all this, the crude oil, the blend crude and all these things. Now, why natural gas become a global commodity focus right now is because of the wars. The wars in the Russian wars in 2022 and now the current Iran wars. The war created something to force people, to force consumer to source for natural gas globally, rather than just rely on the local pipe network, the pipeline. So because of the disruption in the supply of natural gas, a lot of consuming country or consumer are trying to source all over the world for natural gas. That's number one. So that is a trend that pushed natural gas to be a global commodity. Trend number two, because what happened in the 2022, the Russia war, and because of the Russia war, there's a lot of disruption to the pipeline natural gas delivery. So what they do is that a lot of people start to order huge LNG vessels, so that they can buy gas from far away country and then put them into an LNG vessel and ship them back to their own country. And because of all this ordering of the LNG vessel, which about 100 plus of them, it usually take about 3 years to build one. So in 2026 or 2025, end of 2005, all these 100 plus LNG vessels are being delivered to the owner. So when these people has so many, a big fleet of LNG to operate and manage, it make natural gas, especially liquefied natural gas, a global movable product, which qualify them as a global commodity now, because it can be moved freely from point A to point B, and also in between the distance during the traveling time, if a certain country managed to offer a higher price, the vessel can detour and go to that country that offer the better price. So why in 2026 natural gas become a commodity is because of the wars, the Russian war, the Iran war, and it forced all the consuming country in the world to source globally rather than just focus on local regional supply. Now, I will produce this slide with some simple numbers, but I'll give you a more detailed one, because I just want to let you all know that who are the top 3 producing country of natural gas in the world. So you can see from this slide is USA, Russia, and Iran, and these 3 countries, they are all involved in wars. And all these 3 countries, they actually produce 40% of the global output of natural gas. So you see, with the Russian war and the current Iran war, a lot of disruption to natural gas is the result of these 2 wars. Now, I want to go further before I give you more details about the natural gas market. I have roughly put down who are the major players in natural gas. So again, it's no different from the oil market, because natural gas you also require a lot of heavy infrastructure investment. So you can see there's national oil company like the Qatar Energy. So I list down all these things here. I won't read through the names one by one. You can look at this slide. So we have national oil company, who also a very big natural gas producer. We also have international oil company, like people like Shell, ExxonMobil, Caltex, Chevron, all these company. They also operate freezing plant and warming plant. So they do all these things. They also involved in natural gas. So we have aggregator and trader. So I put out some names here. So these are the people who trade in the natural gas future market for hedging, for speculative purposes, or for some of them end up in settlement in physical delivery. So again, these are all the players in the natural gas market. Now, if you look at all the structure, the pricing of the natural market, it's just like the oil market. So in the financial world of natural market, which operate exactly like the oil market, natural gas has two markets. One is the paper market, which is all traded on all the major stock exchanges in the world. It should be commodity exchanges. So these are called the paper market. People go in to buy and sell the future contract to make money, to do hedging, or without the intention to actually deliver the natural gas. So before the expiry date of the future market, they will square off their position and they will enter into a new one, and they will settle the spread different. So this is called the paper market, for people to trade, for people to speculate, for people to do hedging, and also for people to at least have a price reference, or also for producer or consumer to lock in their price, so that they do not suffer any price volatility after a contract is being signed. Now, there is also the fiscal market, just like the oil market. So you have over-the-counter market. For example, you do a contract between two parties, and then you submit it over the counter to a exchange, and then you actually make it like a contract to crystallize the whole thing with the power of an exchange to endorse a performance and a payment. You also have direct contract, in the sense that the gas producing company will go to a utility company which uses the gas to produce electricity, and they will enter into a direct contract, and they can negotiate the price. So this is called the fiscal market. And just now I mentioned is the paper market. And as usual, paper market is many times bigger than fiscal market, because it involves in a lot of speculative trading, hedging, and whatsoever. So on average, the paper market is about 20 times bigger than the physical market. So meaning that if there's a contract between two parties, that contract actually will be traded more than 20 times in the paper market for all kind of traders, by all kind of traders. Okay, it might not be a direct link to that contract, but the underlying, there will be a lot of trading activity. Now, we go deeper into all these future contracts. So I again, these are very detailed breakdown. I won't read through the name one by one. So for the paper market of natural gas, so there are a few commodity exchanges in the world that they are very active. Of course, one will be the New York Mercantile Exchange. You can see a Henry Hub future being trading there. Henry Hub is very much for the pipeline in North Asia, so it's a very much a local market. Now, so you also have Intercontinental Exchange, and you have all the European future contract, the UK, Netherlands, and also you have the Japan Korea markets. These are also future contract, mainly for the Korea and Japan market, but are traded in this ICE exchange. So you have European Energy Exchange. This mainly for European natural gas future contract. Now, I mentioned about producing countries just now. So now this time, I'm going to give you a complete and more detailed one with numbers. So if you look at the top 10 gas producing country in the world, so of course, US is number one. It's about 1 trillion cubic meters. Russia, Iran. And again, you can see why natural gas prices are more volatile recently after the war. And also the volatility of natural gas is higher than oil. and later I'll explain why. So you can see all these top producing countries are all in wars. Okay, they are fighting among each other. Now the rest of the top 10, I will just leave it to you all to go through. If not, this video will be getting longer. Now how about, now you know who are the producing country, now who are the consuming country that need natural gas. So again, likewise, I've listed down the top 10 country here. You can see that despite the fact that USA is one of the largest producer, it also the largest user. So USA, Russia, China, and rank number 4 is Iran. As you can see, of the top 4 countries, 3 of them are having war among each other. So that's the reason why recently natural gas prices is being made very volatile, just like the oil prices. How about the proven reserve of all the countries in the world? Who has the most proven reserve of natural gas? And again, I put down there a table, the top 10. I won't go through them one by one. It's for you all to go through. I'll just talk about the top 3. So you can see number 1 is Russia. That's why last time Russia supplied a lot of natural gas to Europe through the pipe. But after the Russia war, and also because the pipe has been sabotaged, there's some damage to the pipe, and also because of sanction, a lot of the European countries are not allowed to buy natural gas, which is cheaper from Russia because it goes through a pipeline. So despite the fact that Russia is being the largest natural gas producer, because of the war, they have been sanctioned, they have been kicked out, they have been blocked by USA into a lot of this international trade. But still, they have the largest reserve. Now, Iran is ranked number 2, and then ranked number 3 is Qatar, which is these are the top 3. But as you can see, among the top 3, again, the top 2 are involved in wars. So that's the reason why all these things are contributing to the volatility in the natural gas market. To understand why natural gas prices are more volatile than oil prices, or they are more reactive to the war, first we have to look at the users of natural gas. So I do another slide. This slide is bigger. I changed to an A3 paper. Now, the actual usage of natural gas globally, 40% is to generate electricity. So 40% of the natural gas produced in the world are being bought by utility company to burn them to generate the to start the generator and generate electricity. So 40% go to that. Now industrial is 30%. What is industrial? So there's a phrase in natural gas here: we not only use it, we also eat it. So natural gas is a very important ingredient to produce fertilizer. I won't go deeper into the production technology behind, but again, I just want to highlight to you all that not only we use natural gas, we also eat natural gas through fertilizer. So fertilizer is a big usage of, is a big reliance on natural gas. And also because of the disruption, that's why now you look at the newspaper, the whole world is worried about food shortages because there's not enough fertilizer, because a lot of the gas from Middle East are being blocked by the war, so they cannot come out. And that's the reason why a lot of fertilizing company now temporarily close their plant, because natural gas form the largest cost ingredient to the production of urea. Okay, so again, I won't go deeper into this. Now, the third usage will be residential and commercial. So these are for heating, cooking purposes. So that's for residential and commercial. And the last one, 10% will be transport. Some of the big train, vessel, car are being powered by natural gas in a compressed manner, not liquefied manner. Now let's look at the prices of natural gas, because that's how the main thing about this today market. I will tilt the video towards the response of natural gas after the war. Okay, so now if you look at the future price of natural gas, I list down from 2021 until 2026. You can see that the price per heat unit, MMBTU, has increased from 14 US per unit all the way to 35 US right now. So you can see that in between, during the Russia and Ukraine war, it went up to 54. There was a huge surge, and then but immediately it stabilized down, and after that there's a rebalancing. Why there's a rebalancing? Because a lot of people know that they cannot depend only on pipeline to get their natural gas. They have to look elsewhere, look further away. So that's why LNG vessel become very important to actually transform the mobility of the natural gas and make natural gas a global commodity, especially at the beginning of 2026. So you can see that now after 2026, in 2026, beginning of 2026, the Iran war has again bring the price of natural gas up to 35 US dollar. Now, why gas prices reacted more compared to oil prices? So again, a lot of people are talking about oil prices. It's so volatile. Go above 100, you will go to 200. But in actual fact, the percentage or the volatility in natural gas is much more than oil. Is much more than oil. Now, why is this so? What are the factors? So I put down there two factors, which is very important. So number one, natural gas now I mentioned is LNG vessel. So for those pipeline, it will not be affected by war except being sabotaged or switch off because of sanction. But most of the natural gas transportation in the world now are moved by LNG vessel, especially from the Strait of Hormuz. So when Strait of Hormuz is being closed because of the Iran war, a lot of the natural gas from Iran and Qatar cannot reach the outside world. So that's the reason the blockage there actually affect natural gas more than oil, because a lot of gas come out from that region to supply to the global region. Number two, why the price of natural gas are more volatile than the oil? Because oil, there is something called the strategic proven reserve. I produce a oil market video as well. You'll be up in the next few days, so you can watch that video to understand more about the oil market. But for this natural gas market, a lot of there's no strategic reserve kept by country. Why? That's to do with the technicality of storing gas and storing oil. Oil you can just store in a natural format, but for gas, no. Remember, just now I talked about compressing it, liquefy it, so which require a huge involvement in infrastructure, and there will be a natural leakage. So no matter how good your tank is, your storage facility, there will always be leakages. So usually after 12 years, it will be evaporized, so no more. So you don't see a strategic gas reserve, which is technically possible but not viable commercially. That's the reason why when the oil price start to fluctuate, a lot of countries under the coordination of International Energy Authority or the EIV, or they will ask this country to release their oil reserve so that to stabilize the market, because release of oil reserve means a supply in the market and the oil price will be cushioned, will be there's a pressure to push it down. But for natural gas, there is none. No country has strategic gas reserve. So when the gas price start to fluctuate, country cannot cushion it by releasing more natural gas in the market. That's the reason why natural gas are more the prices of natural gas are more volatile than the oil prices. So the last few slides I want to highlight to all my viewer, because in case someone asks you, hey, why before the war not many people think natural gas is a global commodity, and now after the war natural gas become like a global commodity. Now this one is very much a summary of what I mentioned in this video. So number one, natural gas used to be a regional kind of commodity, not global, regional. So it is being delivered through pipeline. Okay, so it's very much a localized regional kind of commodity pricing. That was something in the past. It's something like cluster pricing. So because it traveled by pipeline, it cannot go far distant. But because of the war, the disruption in the pipeline and the sanction, consuming country have no choice but to source globally for new natural gas. And this sourcing of globally is also only made possible with the influx of LNG vessel. So these two factors add together because of the disruption in the pipeline delivery, which make natural gas only a regional commodity. Now, because there's a war, there's a blockage, everybody has a source globally, and the transportation of the gas become possible because of LNG vessel. Natural gas become now a global commodity. But it's not said that it wasn't traded in the past. It was, but it now considered a true global commodity. If you look at this is the last slide. If you look at the volume of the future market, then you know the previous slide why I say natural gas is already a commodity. There is an active future market to support the natural gas, but it reached a global scale only after the recent wars, okay, the Russian and also the current Iran war, okay, which I mentioned before, so I won't repeat again. So if you look at the last slide of today's video, you can see that actually on the 3rd April 1990, the first natural gas future contract was already traded on the US market. So it's not something new. There is a current paper market. There has been a current paper market for the natural gas commodity, but in the past it's very much a regional and localized trading. So with all these wars, now I want to bring you through how active the future market is being traded now. So on a per year basis, the whole 2016 last time is 85 million contract. But if you fast forward after the so many war, after the COVID-19, the Russia war, the Iran war, and all these things, if you look at this whole slide, up to 2026, it very much double. It's reached 160 million. So you can see that the trading of oil, gas future market has evolved and it has doubled in the last 10 years. So this also confirmed that natural gas become a commodity, a global commodity now, with all the reason I stated above. So now we come to the end of this video. In this video, I've explained to you the types of form that the natural gas can be marketed in the market, which is normal, compressed, and liquefied. I also tell you who are the top producing country, the top country with reserve, the top country that consume natural gas. I also tell you that the physical market and the paper market of natural gas. I also explain why natural gas prices are more volatile compared to the oil market, to the oil pricing. And I also explain why. And I also give you some historical numbers about the future contract market of the natural gas, which is already started since 1990, but it become very active recently because of the global commodity status of natural gas made possible by the war and the LNG vessel. So again, thank you very much for watching my video. Do subscribe to my video. Do circulate my video to your friends so that I can get more subscription. I hope you enjoy my video. I try to make it as relevant as possible so that you have the most important information regarding natural gas. But again, my video is not going to cover the whole aspect, which will take a few days to talk. So at least you have this basic knowledge that will help you in your career, that will help you in your business decision if there are any. Okay, so thank you very much. Do subscribe and I'll see you next video. Bye bye.